So today we are going to learn about Kohlrausch's law from page 83. But before we actually go into Kohlrausch's law, we must first understand a few things. I have listed it down in terms of questions. So question number 1, what is molar conductivity? If we don't know molar conductivity, we will not be able to understand Kohlrausch's law. So molar conductivity, you can see how I have denoted it. It's written in this way. This is capital lambda and the subscript is written as M. So molar conductivity is what? Molar conductivity is the conductivity of such type of a solution when the volume of the solution is taken to be V, and when we make this volume V, how much of electrolyte do we dissolve in this water? 1 mole. And when we put the electrodes, we have to check that the distance between the electrodes is always 1 unit. 1 unit means 1 meter, or 1 centimeter means whatever we take as our unit, it should always be 1. And these electrodes that we are dipping in the electrolyte actually are in the form of plates. So these plates, what should be the area of cross section of these electrodes? So that we will have to take it as A. Now, keeping all these things in mind, if we set up a system like this, and then if we measure the conductivity of that solution, then it is called molar conductivity, denoted by capital lambda M. What then, after knowing what is molar conductivity, the next question comes, what is limiting molar conductivity? Now, limiting molar conductivity, again we will denote it by capital lambda M, and we will put 0 out here. The reason is this is calculated when the concentration approaches 0. So when the concentration will approach, how will it approach 0? Because some ions from here will start getting deposited in the electrodes. So the concentration of this solution is going to fall. So as it approaches 0, and if we measure the conductivity, then it is called limiting molar conductivity. So how then do we measure this molar conductivity and limiting molar conductivity of two types of electrolytes? We know that there are two types, strong and weak. So how do we measure them? Now when they went to measure this, they found that for weak electrolytes it's difficult to measure the molar conductivity. But for strong electrolytes there were two ways of measurements. So number 1, this formula I have already given you to bracket from page 81. You will find this is the formula. You have to just learn it by heart. You don't require the derivation of this. You simply learn what are these terms. You already know these two now. This is molar conductivity. This is limiting molar conductivity. A is a constant. C is the concentration. You will find the details of this in page 81. And the other way to measure the conductivity is by Kohlrausch's law, which we are going to learn now. And for strong electrolytes, Kohlrausch's law was found out and it was applicable. But later on they found that it is also applicable to weak electrolytes. So after knowing what is molar conductivity, what is limiting molar conductivity, now it becomes easy for us to understand what is Kohlrausch's law. So that is there in page 83. You will see, suppose we take an electrolyte NaCl. Now if we put this in aqueous medium, NaCl is going to dissociate into 1 Na plus and 1 Cl minus. So if we are to measure the molar conductivity of this NaCl, then Kohlrausch has said that it will be the sum of the contributions of Na plus and Cl minus, because from NaCl we get 1 Na plus and 1 Cl minus. So separately if we measure the molar conductivity of Na plus, and separately if we measure the molar conductivity of Cl minus, and we add these two, we get for the entire solution. So if we are measuring molar conductivity, then we will write it in this way. If we are measuring limiting molar conductivities, we will simply put the zeros out there, because you now know that limiting molar conductivity means when the concentration of this particular electrolyte is approaching 0. So we put the 0 there. Now why are we writing capital lambdas here and small here? Because these are the contributing ions, so the limiting molar conductivities are denoted with small lambdas. So written in this way, small lambda, and capital lambda, you know, is written in this way. So this is the way to denote them. Suppose we take calcium chloride as our electrolyte. If this dissociates, it will give you Ca2 plus and 2Cl minus. So then how will we measure? Then lambda m or lambda m0 of calcium chloride is going to be equal to the lambda 0 of Ca2 plus, mind you, there are two of them, so we write 2 here and then write lambda 0 Cl minus. If we are measuring limiting molar conductivity, we'll put the 0. If we are simply measuring molar conductivity, then it goes without the 0. But we have to be careful about how many ions are coming out in the solution. If we see 2 are coming in this case, then we have to write 2 with the limiting molar conductivity of that ion. Suppose it was NH4Cl, then this dissociates into NH4 plus Cl minus. So how will we write this? We will write lambda m 0 of NH4Cl is equal to lambda 0 of NH4 plus lambda 0 of Cl minus. Again you can see coefficient is 1, so here also it will be 1. Here the coefficient was 1 and 2, so 1 and 2. Here also it is 1, so 1 and 1. So this way we will break them up. This is what Kohlrausch has said, that limiting molar conductivity of an electrolyte can be represented as the sum of the individual contributions of the anion and cation of the electrolyte. So individually we will calculate the limiting molar conductivities, and that will be the total of the entire electrolyte. So that is the way of calculation. Now what else do we have to know about weak electrolytes? For strong electrolytes, we know this is a strong electrolyte. It will directly break up into these two. It will show the conductivity and we can measure it. But what happens in the case of weak electrolytes? So in the case of weak electrolytes, take for example, if we take acetic acid as our example, then in that case acetic acid is a very weak electrolyte. If we take 100 molecules, only one of it is going to dissociate. Dissociate in what way? CH3COOH, this is your acetic acid. This will dissociate and give you CH3COO minus plus H plus. So this is an example of a weak electrolyte. So how do we measure it? I said if we take 100 molecules, so it will give you only one out of that 100 will give you one molecule of CH3COO minus, and this one also 1. So you can see that the amount which is dissociating is much less than the amount which is present when we are making the aqueous solution of this. So that's why it is a weak electrolyte. So there must be some other way also of calculating this. So you can see in page 83, continued in page 84, you will find that you are coming across a term called alpha. Alpha is the degree of dissociation. Degree of dissociation means how many are dissociating when we take a certain concentration of the of that particular electrolyte. Say alpha is the degree of dissociation when C is the concentration of the electrolyte. So in that case you will find in page 84 there is a formula for calculating this alpha. Alpha is nothing but lambda m divided by lambda m 0. So this is the way of calculating alpha, the degree of dissociation. There is also a constant of dissociation. Okay, it's also written as Ka. It is nothing but C alpha square divided by 1 minus alpha. So what does this mean? 1 minus alpha. Say instead of writing 100, I take alpha. So since 1 has dissociated, so what remains? It will be 1 minus alpha and 1 minus alpha. That is the meaning. So in this term you will find that there is a term called 1 minus alpha. This is the meaning. So this is another formula which you have to remember. So only the sums from this part of the chapter only come based on Kohlrausch's law, how I have shown you how to break it up, and based on this one and this particular one. So you will have to learn these formulas properly to do the sums from this. Now let us turn to page 84, where some sums are I have ticked for you. So let us do one sum from page 84. So let us see sum number 3.8. So in that sum, what is being asked and what are the data which is given to you? It is very easy. So just see application of Kohlrausch's law. In Kohlrausch's law, if you will remember, whatever is the way in which they are dissociating, the lambdas are written in exactly the same way. If we get 2 ions, we'll multiply by 2. If 3 ions, we'll multiply by 3, and so on. So let us take this sum 3.8. You will see lambda m of NaCl is given to you to be equal to 126.4. Lambda m0 of HCl is given to be equal to 425.9, and lambda m0 of NaAC is given to be 91.0. So what does this AC mean? AC is nothing but CH3COO. This part is called AC. If we write Na, then we will write Na out here. You might see in the sum HAC is also written. So AC portion is CH3COO, and instead of Na we will write H. So that is the meaning of these two things. So NaAC means CH3COO Na. So if this will disintegrate, what are the ions we are getting? Na plus and Cl minus. So if the lambda 0 m of NaCl we want to calculate, it means it is lambda 0 of Na plus lambda 0 of Cl minus. So let us put this as equation 1. If it is HCl, HCl gives to us lambda 0 H plus, this is the ion, and lambda 0 Cl minus, this is the other ion. So this is our equation 2. And if it is NaAC, means this one, so it will break up to give you lambda 0 CH3COO minus plus lambda 0 H plus. So this is our equation 3. Remember, when we take CH3COO this portion remains negative in both cases. If it is Na, it will be Na plus. If it is H, it will be H plus. So in this case it is Na, so it is going to be Na plus. So let us now see what they have asked in the sum. They have asked you to find out lambda 0 m of HAC. So HAC we don't know, but if we break this up, it gives us lambda 0 CH3COO minus plus lambda 0 H plus. So we are to find out this, taking the help of these three equations. Now let us subtract equation 2 from 1. What do we get? So we will get lambda m0 HCl minus lambda m0 NaCl. This is what we want to do. So let us write it below. HCl portion is lambda 0 H plus lambda 0 Cl minus of, we'll have to put a bracket, lambda 0 Na plus lambda 0 Cl minus. So this is what we get. Now what are the values of this portion? This portion is having a value 425.9 minus, what is the value of this portion? We already have from here 126.4. So you keep this ready. So this portion then is giving us what? Now values we have got, but let us see what happens to this portion now. This is lambda 0 H plus lambda 0 Cl minus. Now let us lift the bracket. So we'll get lambda 0 Na plus minus into plus will be minus lambda 0 Cl minus. So I think you can see this portion we can cancel. So what are we getting? We are getting lambda 0 H plus minus lambda 0 Na plus. So this portion. Now what about equation 3? See, we have a minus sign here, and in equation 3 we have a plus sign here. So I think if we add up this equation with the third one, so we will get our desired answer. So let this be equation 4. Then let us add now, add equation 1 and equation 3 and equation 4. So what was equation 4? Now this side remains the same. Lambda 0 M HCl minus lambda 0 M NaCl. This is our equation 3. This is our equation 4. So we are adding this one. So plus lambda 0 M NaAC is what we have on our left side. This is our left side, is equal to, what is the right side of equation 3? Equation 4. We have written this first, so let us write this only. Lambda 0 H plus minus lambda 0 Na plus. But what do we have for this portion from here? From here we are having lambda 0 CH3COO minus plus lambda 0 Na plus. So this is what we are having. So now let us lift the bracket. Lambda 0 H plus minus lambda 0 Na plus lambda 0 CH3COO minus plus lambda 0 Na plus. Now let us put down the values of this portion. The value of this portion will be, see, this minus this. So on the left side what will we write? Lambda 0 HCl was how much? 425.9 minus this was 126.4. So we will put this value 425.9 minus 126.4 plus, now what was this portion? That is also given to us, plus 91. This is only for putting down the values, but I think you can see we can cancel this with this. So we will get an answer from here for this one. Let us leave it. Let us see what we get at the end. We will get is equal to lambda 0 H plus lambda 0 CH3COO minus. So I think you can see lambda 0 H plus lambda 0 CH3COO minus is nothing but the capital lambda 0 M of HAC. So this is what has been asked for us to find out. So if we calculate this value, we will get 390.5. So this is the answer for this or for this. So this is how you will apply the Kohlrausch's law to do the sum.